Hi, so today our group will be presenting about urinary system. But before that, get to know it. We have Amirah, Nazira, Harsimran, Lim Choy Har, Alvin, and also Rohit. Why do we need to know about urinary system? We drink at least 2 liters of water per day, and to appreciate the urinary system who acts as a drainage system, we should learn about it. The urine color can also define your health. Main function of urinary system including to maintain homeostasis balance, to regulate blood volume and blood pressure, to control level of electrolytes, and to filter blood and regulate blood pH. Urinary tract organs are two kidneys, two ureters, urinary bladder, and also urethra.
Next is the organ or urinary system.
Kidney is the main organ of the urinary system to keep the body functioning properly. It is a reddish bean-shaped organ with hilum on medial side and average size around 3 cm thick, 6 cm wide, 12 cm long and weight around 160 gram. It is located between 12 thoracic and 3rd lumbar vertebrae, one at each side of vertebral columns. Kidney is a retroperitoneum organ, protected by lower limbs and lie in shallow depressions against posterior wall of abdominal and parietal peritoneum. It is held in place by connective tissues. Each kidney has 3 distinct regions, which is renal cortex, renal medulla, and renal pyramids. Renal cortex is a superficial and lightweight regions, and renal medulla is a darker reddish-brown inner regions and consists of several cone-shaped renal pyramids. Together, the renal cortex and renal pyramids of the renal medulla constitute to the parenchyma. Within parenchyma are the functioning units of kidney, which is about 1 million of microscopic structure known as nephrons. The nephron functions through ultrafiltrations and is a structure that produces urine in the process of removing waste and extra substances from the blood. The function of kidney are filter the blood, removing waste and extra fluid in the urine, regulation of blood pressure, volume, blood ionic composition, regulation of blood pH and blood glucose level, maintenance of blood osmolarity, and synthesis of vitamin D for calcium and phosphorus absorption. The next organ is the 2 ureters, which each one attached to each kidney. Ureters is a tube that carries urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. It is also a retroperitoneal organ and arises in the abdomen as continuation of the renal pelvis and terminates in the pelvic cavity. The wall of ureters consists of 3 layers, which is fibrous coat, muscular coat, and the mucosa.
There are several functions of ureters. The main role of ureter is to carry urine from kidneys to the bladder. Secondly, muscle in the ureter's wall will continually contract and relax, forcing urine downward away from the kidney into the bladder. It also works constantly to empty the urine into the bladder about every 10 to 15 seconds. The next organ of urinary system is the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a hollow, muscular and pear-shaped, distensible elastic organ. It receives urine via the ureters. It is located in the pelvic cavity, posterior to the pubis symphysis and below the parietal peritoneum. Histologically, urinary bladder has urothelium, lamina propria, muscularis propria, and serosa. Urinary bladder also bears rugae and transitional epithelium to allow the bladder to expand as it fills with urine. Urinary bladder has several important functions. The main function of urinary bladder is to serve to collect the urine to be voided through urination after urine is filtered through the kidney. It also acts as temporary storage reservoir for urine, which is around 500 milliliters of urine, allowing urination to be infrequent and controlled. The 2 sphincter muscles in the bladder allows for conscious control during urination. Finally, the last organ of urinary system is urethra. Urethra is a lot different between male and female. Female urethra is about 4 cm long, begins at the neck of bladder, passes inferiorly through the perineal membrane and muscular pelvic floor. The urethra opens directly onto the perineum, which is called vestibule. On the other hand, the male urethra is about 15 to 20 cm long, consists of a narrow fibromuscular tube that conducts urine and semen from the bladder and ejaculatory ducts. It is a single structure and composed of 3 parts: the prosthetic urethra, membranous urethra, and penile urethra. However, both male and female urethra are lined by stratified columnar epithelium, which is protected from the corrosive urine by mucus secreting gland. The main function of urethra is to allow urine to pass outside the body. In males, urethral additional function is ejaculating semen when men reach orgasm.
Urine formation. There are three basic processes for urine formation. The first one is glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, and lastly, tubular secretion.
What is glomerular filtration?
Glomerular filtration is the movement of substances from the blood within the glomerulus into the capsular space. Substances like water, solutes, smaller than protein are pushed into the renal tubule through the glomerular capsules, capillary walls, and pores. See, the blue colored one indicate the movement of the substances.
How about tubular reabsorption?
It is the movement of substances from the tubular fluid back into the blood. Substances like water, glucose, amino acid, and ions transferred from the filtrate to the tubule cells where they are then absorbed back into the capillary blood. See, the one that I circle indicate the movement of the substances.
I am so confused. Then what is tubular secretion?
Don't worry, I'll explain. Tubular secretion is the movement of substances from the blood back into the fluid. Tubular extract hydrogen, potassium, creatinine, and drug from the peritubular blood and secrete them back into the filtrate. See, the one that I circle indicate the movement of the substances. Urine analysis. Urine is a liquid aqueous solution consisting of more than 95% of water and 5% of solids. The solids include urea, uric acid, chloride, creatinine, ions, organic and inorganic compounds, and others. A normal person will expel urine 1 to 2 liters per day. For the color of urine, it is usually yellow amber in color, but it can vary depending on the recent diet and urine concentration. Drinking more water allows urine to have a lighter color because of the concentration is reduced. Dehydration can be indicated by dark urine. Red urine indicates the presence of red blood cells in the urine, which is a sign of kidney disease and injury. For the odor of urine, it is usually mildly aromatic when it is produced, but if left to stand, it develops an ammonia odor due to the bacteria's activity on the urine solids. Another thing is that urine has a distinct odor that can reveal health details. For example, since ketone present in the diabetic urine, it may have a sweety or fruity odor. Urine pH is normally mildly acidic, around 6, but it may be even more acidic or basic due to the changes in body metabolism or certain food intake. And for the specific gravity of urine, it is usually varies from 1.001 to 1.035, whereas the specific gravity of pure water is 1.0. Next is the urine route. From the collecting ducts, it will go to the calyces, where the urine collection begins. Each kidney has 6 to 10 calyces. From there, it will then be passed to the ureter, which line with the mucus and transitional epithelium. From the ureter, it will then go to the bladder, which is located in front of the rectum. It can stretch and has 3 layers of detrusor muscles. Next, it will go to the urethra, which urine will be passed out of our body. It has internal and external urethral sphincter, which correspondingly work involuntarily and voluntarily. Urination, or also known as micturition, is the act of emptying the bladder. Micturition reflex will be triggered when the bladder is full of urine, and its stretch receptors will be activated to send impulse. The detrusor then will contract and the internal urethral sphincter relaxes as the result of autonomic reflex. These actions will send message to nervous system and cause the need to urinate. The continent, however, can be jeopardized if the desire is ignored. Urination will occur involuntarily unless the external urethral sphincter is strong enough to prevent it. Aging. Do you know what is the relation of age to urinary system?
Yes, don't worry, I'll explain it to you later. As our age increases, collagen deposition increase, renal blood flow reduce, glomerular filtration rate reduces, loss of nephrons, and abnormal nephron structure. Increased risk of urinary incontinence due to reduced bladder elasticity, loss of sphincter tone, and poor bladder control. Shortened urethra in some women may risk of urinary infection. Prostatic hyperplasia in men may interfere with urine. There are a few defects and consequences that can be found in aged nephron: glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, thickened filtration membrane, reduced glomerular blood flow, glomerular degeneration, loop of Hadley, reduced control over salt reabsorption, electrolyte imbalance, proximal tubule, reduced reabsorption of amino acids, glucose and hormone, distal tubule, reduced size and development of distal diverticular may lead to cyst formation, reduced sensitivity to ADH, reduced clearance of drugs and toxic.
So the conclusion of the urinary system is, to briefly summarize, the importance of the urinary system in our body aids in removal of excess minerals or vitamins, as well as the maintaining the pH in our body. And don't forget that there are three main steps of urine formation. First, the glomerular filtration. Second, reabsorption. And third, desecretion. The functional unit of kidney is nephron, which comprises the Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus, proximal tubule, loop of Henle, and distal tubule.